favorite memories from millions of Christmases, it's kind of twofold now. But when I was little and I was anticipating Santa showing up, I used to sit down and back in Tennessee, the evening television news came on at 11. So it was late for me to be up. But I had to sit up because the newscasters would come on and they would report where they had seen Santa last. That he was on the way and that we had all better get to bed right away. So, of course, everybody ran to not be caught up and have Santa miss the house. Imagine my surprise when my kids are little and I discover NORAD has a Santa tracker. That's the most ingenious thing ever. I sat there and watched it thinking it's almost like it's real. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Oh, holiday memories are great, but it wouldn't be a holiday without a big fight over something that is ridiculous, and then a great present, and then another fight, and then eventually us coming together and having a huge dinner and having a laugh. But Christmas, I think, in America isn't Christmas without some screaming and yelling. Am I right or am I right?
My favorite holiday memory goes back to when I was a kid. I was probably 10 or 11. My aunt, who's a Catholic nun, came over from Mexico and had this idea of coming up with what we call a pastorela. So what that is, it's a play recreating the birth of baby Jesus. So all of my cousins got together and we had to play all these different characters. So we had the shepherds, we had the three wise men, we had the angels, even the devil, and of course the stars of the show, Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. I got to play Mary, which was a lot of pressure to put on a 10 or 11-year-old, but we pulled it off. It was so much fun and definitely one of my favorite memories.
Quite a few favorite holiday memories. Probably one that really stands out was about 30 years ago. My dad rented a cabin on a big lake in northern Idaho, Lake Pend Oreille, near Sandpoint, Idaho. 2 days over the holidays, stranded in a blizzard, nowhere to go. So I got to spend the entire time with family, and at the time my daughter was just about 2 years old. So that was a lot of fun right there.
My favorite holiday memory is probably getting snowed in Flagstaff. We didn't live in Flagstaff. We were living on the reservation, the Navajo Nation, and we used to go to Flagstaff to do shopping, so we go down there a few days before Christmas, and we got snowed in. We actually ended up having to stay with some family and opened our presents in their living room. Must have been really weird for them, but it was kind of cool for us.
My favorite holiday memory, this is going to sound a little bit cheesy, but just I haven't seen my parents at Christmas in, I don't even know, like 15 years now. Radio just sucks you away into newsrooms. So just being able to wake up with my parents on a Christmas day, go downstairs, open up my presents insanely early at like 6 a.m. after Santa dropped them off, and then just go upstairs and bug my parents.
My favorite holiday memory was when I was a kid, probably younger than 8 years old, and every year we would go visit our grandparents in Mexico. And I have a large family, lots of cousins, probably in the 20s, and we would all line up from the youngest to the oldest in line to get money from our granddad. Our grandfather would just give us, a few cents here and there, but we thought it was the greatest thing. But before that, we would all have to do a talent show. So year after year, that was the one tradition that became just an everlasting memory. Now, as we're grown and we're old, we don't do that anymore, but definitely I'll remember it forever.
My favorite holiday memory takes me back a little while. It was when my grandfather was still with us, and we would spend Christmas Eve at their house. And TV was off, cell phones didn't exist, and we would just sit around and listen to Christmas music and talk. And at the time, I didn't really appreciate it much. But now, when I'm listening to Christmas music and a particular song comes on, it transports me back to that moment. And man, it's a memory I'm so glad I have with him.
My favorite holiday memory was one year back when the first iPads came out, and my dad bought an iPad for my mom, and we all thought it was the best idea, and Dad was really splurging for her, and we all thought it was so cool. We were excited to see her reaction, and she opened it, and she gave him this death glare, like, why would you do that? Why would you buy me an iPad? And none of us understood it, but it was always just this really funny moment that we look back on in later years.
I'm Bob McClay. Here's our top story.